Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered on the Legend Sport channel. My name is Joe. We will be continuing our series on the playthrough of D-Day at Tarawa from Decision Games, designed by John Butterfield with map graphics by Joe Youst. This is the second edition of the game, which was released in 2017. This is part 4 of the series. Thus far, we have covered turns 1 through 5, so this would be turn 6, and I have it mostly set up here for turn 6. If you are just joining us, this game covers the 2nd Marine Division's invasion of Tarawa, specifically Beisho Island and the Tarawa Atoll, with D-Day being on November 20th, 1943. The actual campaign historically took 3 days. This game covers basically the first 2 days. So I have a couple of things I need to do for cleanup here that I just noticed. I don't have my phase counter in the correct spot, nor do I have my turn counter in the correct spot. So I will take care of that. So down here at the bottom, we have our units on Red Beaches 2 and 3. There are no arriving units on Red Beach 1 this turn. This is the Bird's Beak, the so-called Bird's Beak. This is the western end of the island because north is this way. Okay, the American invasion came in from the north. So as we're looking at this, bottom to top is north to south. And this would be west, and that's east. So we have Red Beach 2, Red Beach 3. If you've been watching, you understand the process here. You basically draw 2 cards. First card tells you drift. Second card tells you what happened to your unit and the LVT carrying that unit on its way to the beach. So without further ado, we're going to get started here. Okay, our first card drawn, we have a Drift 1R. And all 4 steps of the unit survive and both steps of the LVT survive. So here we have our first unit. So we had a Drift 1R, which moves us here. And then we're just going to go all the way. That was actually an Inland 1. So we're going to go just to the beach, which would be here, but 1 hex inland, which is here. Okay, so Company B of 1st Marine Battalion, 2nd Marine Regiment, 2nd Marines, lands there. And this is some good support that is highly needed for Red Beach 2. Red Beach 2 is in a much more precarious condition than Red Beach 3 currently. Okay, this one we have another Drift 1R. And we have another all 4 steps of the unit survive and both steps of the LVT. So again, we Drift 1R and straight up and to the beach, which is right there. So that is our beach hex. So that's an engineer. Okay, this was a 1-step LVT. And so it landed our 2-step engineer. Each step of an LVT can carry 2 steps of infantry or engineers. So now we've got a tank. The tank acts as an LVT. And underneath that, and I messed that up, that should not be there actually. I'm going to push this to turn 7. That infantry unit will land the next turn. The tank, which was here on Red Beach 2D. Okay, tanks act as LVTs essentially. So we get Drift 1L. And we ignore the U, so the 4 steps would have survived, but we go with the LVT because the tank is basically like an LVT in this case. So that's both steps survive and it reaches the beach. So again, we drive up and we land here, right below the seawall. So now we've got 1st and 2nd platoons from Company A of 2nd Tank Regiment here. Or 2nd Tank Battalion, here on Red Beach 2. We move on to our final unit on Red Beach 2. We get Drift PR, that means pivot right, which does occur on beaches 2 and 3, Red Beach 2, Red Beach 3. So that just turns our unit this way and means they're heading towards Red Beach 1. Okay, so we draw our next card. So we're going to lose an LVT step and a step of the unit, and we're going to go inland 2. Okay, so that's 2 hexes off the beach. All right, so we're going to drive up here, and we're going to go, that's the beach, that's 1 inland, that's 2 inland. So they're going to land there. Okay, so Company A of 1st Battalion, 2nd Marines loses a step. It's now a 3-step unit, and it's wedged between 2 Japanese units, which isn't the best of positions, but it is what it is. We also lose 1 step of our LVT as well. Now we move on to Red Beach 3, and we get a drift 1R, and so that's going to push us up against the pier, basically. And we get, whoa, this is a rough one. We're going to be inland 1, but we're losing 2 steps, or we'll have 2 surviving steps for the unit and 1 surviving step for the LVT. Okay, so we have 2 1-step LVTs here and a 4-step infantry unit. So we'll move them. This is going inland 1. So they come here because they get a one drift, a drift, 1 hex to the right. And then we're going to go up here and inland 1. So they're going to end up in this position here. Okay, we lose 1 of our 2 1-step LVTs. So I'll put this guy here and I'll remove that other one from play. And then we're going to replace Company I of 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines with its 2-step reduced counter. So we've lost a lot of infantry, but I've seen it worse. There's no question there. I have seen it worse. So let's move on. We have a tank now. We get no drift, and this is the Doomsday card, where you lose the unit and the LVT. And we get a good card for the landing. So we have no drift, and the tank makes the beach, no problem. So we're going to go, and right here, right below the seawall, there's 3rd Platoon of Company C. Then we move on to next one, which is in Red 3D, no drift again. And all 4 steps make it, but we lose 1 of our LVT steps. So we have Company K of 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines here. They're going to make it, I forgot to look here, to the beach. So they're here, and we lose 1 step of our LVT. Okay, so we have a 2-step LVT here on Red Beach 3C, carrying Company L, 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines. We get a drift 1L, and we get full survivability onto the beach by the unit and the LVT. So we go here, they land right there. And that will conclude our amphibious operations phase. We'll now move on to taking care of the event. The event phase would be next. So let me neaten that up. We move our phase here. We flip a card for our event. Now we're in turn 6, so we're still in the top row here, 2 to 10. Add a depth marker to 1 Japanese unit. So I'm still hoping for some event that actually benefits the U.S. Marines, but so far we have not had that. Okay, so again, we use the priority system for figuring out who gets a depth marker. It's typically a coastal position, which we have right here, adjacent to U.S. Marines, so I'm going to put it right here, actually. We're going to draw coastal depth, because that's a coastal position. And we're going to put it under here, unrevealed. And let me straighten this up. It's a little messy over here. All right, the bird's beak. Okay, so that takes care of that. We move on to the Japanese fire phase. All right, so here's our fire phase. We draw a yellow with the star That means heroes and the headquarters can be targeted. Red with the R symbol, which has not been revealed yet. And double green with the I symbol, which also has not been revealed yet. So no special actions this turn for the Japanese. So with yellow being first, okay, we look, first of all, our symbol is a diamond, okay? So I always, someone on Facebook actually recommended to look at the symbols for the US units first, because that actually makes sense. You can see what units are vulnerable to fire. So we have this tank here, we have this tank here, this engineer here, this engineer here, this company here, and this company here. And this one here as well. We actually have a lot of potential units here for the Japanese to target. There may even be some under here. Yep, there's another one. So yeah, this is going to kind of probably end up being somewhat ugly for the US. So we're looking for yellow. We have an unoccupied yellow there, but because they don't have any letters, that will not take any effect. So there's another unoccupied yellow, same thing. Moving along, looking at yellow. So we have a yellow here, right? But we don't have any units in a yellow targeted area, except for this one. This one is in the target range of that, as is here. And that's actually a solid, intense fire. So this unit will fire on our company A, which just landed. And when I landed there, I knew that was a precarious position, sitting as it is between two Japanese units like that. And in the intense fire field for both, and that was a mistake. Oops. So we're going to lose Company A, 1st Battalion, 2nd Marines, full strength counter, and replace it with their reduced counter. Okay. Yellow, these also empty. And so we will move on to the next color, which is red. There were no leaders, obviously, within range of this single yellow that could actually take a shot. So we are moving on to red. So we have a red here that's disrupted, which means it cannot fire. He will lose his disrupted status. However, I'll do that at the end of the turn, the end of the Japanese turn, just so I don't forget and end up having him take a shot at somebody. Other reds, we have a red here. Okay, so we have a red here. And we do have a steady fire dot there. That unit is one of the few, apparently, that does not have the diamond. So that would be a miss there. If it could have elected to take the shot at this unit here, that would also, because it's a circle, it's also a miss. And there are no units out in the water. So these two are misses. That means that we are in okay shape here. Oh, one thing that somebody pointed out that I had missed earlier is this tank unit should have been destroyed in turn 4. It has a disrupted symbol on it currently, but I am going to actually remove it from play because it should have been destroyed. Back in turn 4, this tank unit here landed on it, and we had close combat. And I misread or misapplied the close combat rule for the heroism event, thinking that it replaced or prevented the unit from actually taking a hit, and it did not. So this unit is eliminated, and I'm going to remove it now, and I'm going to move my tank into this position, which is where it would have been, because it would have won that that close combat. So that this tank is now in, that tank unit is now in its proper position, and the Japanese tank has been removed, which it should have been when that occurred 2 turns ago. So we move on to green, and this is a double green. So you would need a Japanese unit with depth, or a Japanese unit in a combined position, such as this one here, where they're linked. You would need two units, one in each of those. I do not believe the Japanese have any green units, any green positions that can fire. They lost this one. And again, they don't have the symbols that would allow them to do things in unoccupied hexes. There are rules where they can do things in unoccupied hexes. Those are not viable at the moment because the letters that they needed to pull up were not pulled up. So that will complete the Japanese fire phase, and we will move to the US fire phase, US action phase rather. Okay, so now we have our phase where the Americans can make a move, they can attack, they can barrage, they can perform close combat. And let me remove the disrupted here from this Japanese unit, as it is no longer disrupted. It is revealed, however, because we fought it in a previous turn and disrupted it. At the end of this turn, I'll be able to remove my disruption from this unit here. So again, what we're looking at is HQs and heroes. Well, one hero, and specifically this Major Ryan counter here. Major Ryan acts as an HQ in terms of being able to activate units for free moves that are adjacent to his hex. So Company I here is going to have a free move, as is Company H, which he is sitting in the same hex with. Colonel Hall over here, and Colonel Shoop, I believe, is under my disrupted counter. He is. HQ doesn't get disrupted because technically they don't really participate in the close combat that caused this disruption. So I'm thinking he still has his free move, or the ability to give a free move to the guys, the units in the hex with the HQ, they're going to become undisrupted anyway. But my point is, I believe this guy can make a move because he gets a free move based on Colonel Shoop being not being disrupted. Okay, so now we're looking also at this here. Maybe I use two of my moves to assault this unit here. We also have units here that I would like to take a shot at, possibly. That would also not be a free move. We have free moves that I can employ here, either against this hex with my tank, or against this hex with some combination of my newly landed Company L alongside of Company E, which is down to one step. So I have a one-step tank and a one-step company here. So that's not an ideal situation. That's a little bit on the sketchy side. I may try to consolidate some things and see if I can do something simpler, essentially. I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to say that Colonel Hall here is going to he's going to actually use his ability to move, and he's going to back up into this hex here. So this one also has a free move, and I'm going to assault this, or close combat with this hex right here. I don't know what's under there. It does not have depth. I am going to hit that as well. Yeah, this is tough. This is a tough decision here. I'm going to move my tank back to try and gather. I've got forces here now that I can gather together to push back in here, particularly Company K here. I wanted to get Company K to have a free action with Colonel Hall next turn. So this is more of a setup for next turn as opposed to doing something this turn. And what I'm going to do with Colonel Shoop is I'm going to use him to activate Company G. I'm going to move Company G here, because now I have flanking on this position that I can, again, in the next turn, I can apply flanking on this hex and remove this position, which then opens up pretty much this nice little central area where hopefully my incoming waves, although I won't have any incoming, maybe I need to count out. I haven't counted out yet how many steps I'm going to be landing next turn. I know that at the end of the amphibious turn you're supposed to do that, and I typically don't. I kind of leave it till the end of the turn, which is probably not what we were thinking it should be. So anyway, regardless, we're going to I'm going to move on. So that is also a free move. And to complete my free moves, I'm going to take company H and move them here. And company I, also as a free move, will move up here. We're setting up to attack this unit here, obviously. So I still have three moves I can make now, and I think I'm going to attack this unit here. Okay, so this will actually be 2 actions if I do that. We have a 4 and a 2 that has a flamethrower as well. So what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to use my smoke marker here to put it on here to indicate that I'm attacking with that unit. This guy will not move. He will not join in on the attack here. I do want to move company M up though, because if I can get them up here next to Major Ryan, that would help open up them for having more freedom next turn as well. So we're going to do that. We'll move them up here. That's our second move. Or actually, we can just do this for that. I did that because I'm not done moving yet, and once I move, I will resolve my attack because that's the second part of this. So next, what we are going to do, I'm going to move my tank here, and that will complete my movement part of this, and now we resolve our attacks. So we have an attack, we have a close combat here, but we have a fire attack here by these 2 units. So the firepower is 6. Okay, so we have to flip the Japanese unit. And it's a 2. So we have a 6-2 attack here. So we have mortar and bazooka requirements. So we do not have the mortar requirement. We do have the bazooka requirement thanks to our tank unit. So that would be a no. So it's no. US strength compared to Japanese defense strength. It's at least double. Okay, so they get disrupted. And now I know what I have in there as well. So they're disrupted. Okay, so now we have our close combat to resolve. So we have 4 steps for the Americans, 1 step for the Japanese. And so that is a 4-1. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 4-1. They do have a close combat, actually, so they get another card, the Japanese. There is a CC on that unit. Okay, so it's 4-2 in terms of cards. And we flip our first card for the Japanese. Okay, the color of that hex is brown. We have CC, heroism, and a brown. Okay, so now that I know how to follow the rules, I know we're going to lose a step for the Americans, but heroism adds a card to the Japanese side and removes a card from the American side. So we're going to take a card for Japanese and we're going to discard this guy. Okay, so now we flip our American card and we have nothing, and I actually lost a brown there, so now we go back to Japanese. Nothing. Okay, oh, and they're at a 3 right now. American, they have destroyed the Japanese unit. And we put a disrupted marker. And these cards go back on the pile. And so now that basically ends the turn. So I'm going to take my action marker off, my disrupted marker off here, and my action marker off here. And that completes turn 6. We have plenty of cards left for turn 7. So we're going to move that there. We're going to turn 7. I'm going to now set up to land my units here. So we have a red beach 2. We have a red beach 3. We have a red beach 2. We have a red beach 2. We have another red beach 2 and a red beach 3. Okay, so we have companies C and D, 1st Battalion, 2nd Marines. We also have 2 engineers, also coming in here. And then over here we have Company M of the 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines, and another engineer unit. So I need 2 LVTs, 3, 5, 7, 9. I need a total of 9 LVT points. I have 2 2s left. We will use those here and here. And then I hope I have enough 1s to cover this. I don't think I do, though. So we need 1 here and 2 here. And one of these engineers I'm going to have to bump to turn 8. So we need to reveal our next Japanese action, which is M. So they now have A, P, and M with 2 more to reveal. We know the last one is I. So this one must be R that we'll get on turn number 9. All right, so moving on, here we go for our landing. Drift 1R. So they go here. And then we lose 1 step of our unit, and we lose both steps of our LVT. So that's not good. And that's water. So we're going to go up here, and once we hit the water, we go there. We flip this guy over, and we lose our LVT. All right, not what I was hoping to see there. Okay, drift 1R. And 2 and 2. Okay, so we only have 2 here. So our engineers make it, and our LVT also survives because it's a 1-step anyway. And that goes to the beach as well. So they land there. And our LVT goes back. Now we're on to our 3rd one here, which is 2 LVTs, actually. No drift. And 3 steps and 2 LVTs and beach. So we lose a step. Both LVTs survive. Or both 1-step LVTs survive. This gets flipped to 3 and we go to the beach. So they land on the tank. Okay, and because they got reduced, that's 5 steps, which actually keeps us within the stacking limit as well, which I guess is nice. So now we move on to beach 3, red beach 3, no drift. And 2 and 1. This turn's landing is the one that I have been dreading. So 1 survives. Oh, and 2 survives. So that worked out okay for me. So they reach the beach. Okay, so now we go to our last landing attempt here. No drift. And 3 and 2 beach. Okay, so we'll move the LVT. Flip this to 3 and move him to the beach. Whoops. All right, so we're going to have to move these guys off, obviously. After that's a heavy weapons company. We do have Colonel Hall there sitting next to them, so there'll be free movements. I can move these guys out, and we can start pushing at these in this direction. Or maybe, I don't know. We have options at least, because in general, the units are in pretty good shape. So now we're going to draw our event. 2 to 10, land U.S. artillery unit on beach R2. I guess I'll put him here with the engineer. So we now have an artillery unit there. All right, so that's the event phase. We go to the Japanese fire phase. All right, so we have red with P, which we have, purple, double purple with A, which we also have, and a brown with the armor symbol. Okay, so the armor symbol would indicate they can hit tank units. And our symbol rather for targets is a circle, steady fire, not intense. So this company L is now going to be reduced to a 2-step. So that's L38, L38 right there. Oh, artillery destroyed. Although it can also shoot this, but there's a higher priority for the beach, so this unit is going to be eliminated. So that is also a bad loss for me. So that takes care of that one. So the P has no effect on this turn, essentially. So now we're moving on to our double purple A. So again, it has to be 2 units, either a unit and a depth marker, or a linked position, such as this one, where we have actually 3 that could be linked together, but there's only 1 unit in here. And it does have a depth marker, so that activates this unit. Okay. Unfortunately, it does not have anybody in its field of fire, but it can do an advance and fire. So we check the armor column. So here's A, and we come across and it says double advance or fire. So advance, then if able to advance again, do so. If unable, fire. Okay. So it can't fire, so we're going to do an advance, and then we'll see where we are, and then maybe do a double advance. So typically when a tank advances, it goes from a position to another position, and it needs to be moving towards a US unit. Okay, so we do have some Japanese positions in this area that are close to American units, and we have one, in fact, 1, 2, 3, 4 right here that's close to this American unit. Okay, so we're going to move this guy from here to here. Okay, and that should complete his move because there's no need for another move. There's no position available that's open that he can advance to. If this had been an advance and fire, which it's not, but if it had been, he would be able to fire on this unit. Since it's not, he's going to stop here. And obviously next turn he would be in position to fire at any of these areas around him, including out here into the water where this guy is sitting. So he'll be able to hit triangles and circles next turn. So now, again, purple, he moved from purple. So now we move on to brown and the armor symbol. So brown, that brown is occupied. We have a brown here. And they are able to fire into this hex. And then the symbol is a circle, which it is here as well. So they are going to lose a step. And they are down to 1 step now. 8th Marines are kind of taking it on the chin a little bit. That guy is disrupted, or he would be able to fire, but he's disrupted. So he loses his disruption because his color came up. That will end the Japanese turn, and we will move, or the Japanese action phase or fire phase. We'll move to the American action phase, the US action phase. Okay, so we're back in the situation we were before, but now I feel like I'm in a better situation here, to some extent at least. All right, so we have Colonel Shoup here, and we have Colonel Hall here with a nice range of units around him to use. The 2 tank units can fire here. To suppress, hopefully disrupt this unit, and I'm going to do that. So these 2 units, the 2 tank units, are going to fire, and I will mark them with smoke to indicate that they are going to fire. The engineer unit that's under the tank, I'm not sure what I'll do with him yet. I'm going to take Colonel Hall, and I'm going to move him back up, and I'm going to take company M and move 2 to go here, and I will do, this is a one-step unit, it is, and I'm going to move company K here. Okay, so now we're going to fire on this guy and hopefully disrupt him. And next turn, we'll have flanking because we have a unit here and here that will be able to attack, plus the one here. So this particular thorn in my side, I'm going to remove next turn, in turn 8. Okay, so these moves were free. These 2 attempts were also free. The engineer is going to stay right here in these buildings for the time being. Actually, no, I'll move, since he's a free move as well, I'm going to move him here. I'm trying to protect my engineers, particularly these that have SP, because those are support, and they will be able to, they will become important once we reach turn 11 and beyond. Okay, so now we're looking, I'm going to look for my free moves with Shoop and his group of 5 here, 5 steps, and try and decide what we want to do with these guys. Now I know I'm going to attack this stack, and that's probably going to use all 3 of my my non-free actions. And here we're going to do a close combat on this hex right here. That would take care of my my moves, and now we'll do our attacks. Okay, so we have an attack coming from here, and we have an attack over here as well. So I'm going to remove my smokes here, and we have these 2 units, 6 firing on 1. He gets a bonus for being in a building, so he gets his unit strength doubled. So he is now a he's now a 2. So it is a 6-2 attack. So that is greater than twice as much. Okay. We know we can't eliminate him because he's got a close combat marker. So I'm trying to disrupt him, and I'm going to close combat him next turn. So if we look here, we have US. Do the US attackers possess the required weapons? Yes. Compare the strength. It's at least double. Unit alone, Japanese defeated. It can't be removed, but it's going to be disrupted. So I'm going to disrupt it. Okay, so it's disrupted. We'll now move to this attack here. And this attack here involves... Okay, so we have, let's see. We have 2, 6, 13, 15. 15 for the attackers. We have 2 here. Flanking and Bazooka, both of those are covered. We have flanking because we have units, basically this unit and this unit are both attacking. They're non-adjacent. We also have this guy attacking. He covers the Bazooka as well. So that means we meet the requirements. We're going to have to check the coastal depth for this unit as well, which is also flanking. Okay, so even with the 4, we still have 15-4. That's more than double. And that's a crater. That's a crater. And a crater is the unit strength doubled, depth is not. So you get 4 + 2 is 6. So 15-6 is still more than double. Okay, so we got more than double. Do we possess the required weapons? Yes. We're going to end up over here. Japanese unit and reveal depth marker. Turns 1 through 10, depth marker eliminated, unit disrupted. So we're going to remove our depth marker. And we're going to disrupt this unit. And that will end that attack. Now we'll do our close combat over here, where we're going to have 4 for our for our two sets of infantry here. The Japanese get 1 for their unit. It does not have the close combat symbol, therefore it does not get a bonus for that. So we're going to have 5 total for the US, 4 for the units, 1 for Major Ryan for a 5-to-1 close combat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we flip the Japanese first. This position is blue. We have a CC, conscripts surrender. 111P. So this is 111P. They are eliminated. Okay, so that worked out quite well. That is also an artillery location, so we are going to destroy the artillery. One less thing to worry about. And we disrupt our brave men here. And we can remove the disruption for this unit as our free action for that unit. And that ends the US turn, the US action phase, and ends turn number 7. I think we're going to stop this episode here. This will be turn number 8. We'll take a stop. We'll take a pause. We've completed 6 and 7. We're going into turn 8. So, as always, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. For Hexed Encountered on the Legend Sport channel, I'm Joe. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you next time. In the meantime, happy gaming.